Welcome to chapter 4 of the book of First Chronicles. We're going again into the names. Now you might want to just jump ahead, but you'll probably be missing one of the most informative chapters that you'll have run across. I hope this is going to be very informative because it all is built around one word. It's in the word appear in verse 3. And we will start with verse 1, the sons of Judah. Judah was one of the sons of Jacob, later called Israel. And his genealogy, it goes down to David, and then from David, it goes all the way down to Joseph. The genealogies in the New Testament of Jesus are in Matthew 1 and in Luke chapter 3. They're different, and a lot of people have propounded all different reasons for this being the case. But I'll just read a little article here from Eusebius' history. And he was around about 300 years after Christ, and talked to many people. And he wrote in his ecclesiastical history, book 7, book 7 of the Loeb Library Classics. There's Greek on one side and English on the other. It's not an interlinear, but it's has both languages. What Eusebius had to say on 350 AD, it says, since Matthew and Luke have given us different traditions in their Gospels concerning the genealogy of Christ, are considered by many to disagree. And since each of the faithful, in ignorance of the truth, has been jealous in making guesses on these passages, come, let us set out the story that has reached us concerning them, which the Africanus, as Julius Africanus, who wrote earlier to Origen, mentioned by us a short time ago, narrated in a letter which he wrote to Aristides on the harmony of the genealogies in the Gospels, confuting the opinion of others as forced and fictitious, and setting out his own tradition in the following words, quote, since the names of the families in Israel were numbered either by nature or by law, by nature in the succession of legitimate birth, and by law when a man begot children in the name of a brother who had died childless. And so he goes into that. You can pick up a Eusebius and read it. Now going here to verse 1 with Judah, we have Phares, and this person is who the genealogy goes through down to David, and then it splits up a little bit further. But we're not really into the genealogy of Jesus here, but I just want to bring that out. So the sons of Judah, and then Hezron, Ezrom, and Harmi, and Or, Soval, and Riah, son of Soval, procreated Eaoth, and Eaoth procreated Ahimaai and Laad. These are the genealogies of the Zorathites. And these were the sons of Etham, Israel, and Esamah, and Eadavas, in the name of her sister, their sister, Azolaphoni. Now, the key word here is the name. Now, name, it's what we're going through are all these names. A friend of mine wrote a comment in the comments on the YouTube about we're giving new names. Well, we'll go through that and we'll see what all is going to happen. But the word onoma, we have in English grammar an automatopoeia, has to do with grammar. I forgot exactly what it was. I was going to look it up, but I forgot. The name is not only just the name like George, Harry, Junior, but it's also a title. And we have to look and see how it's used. And we're dealing with the Greek Bible, not the Hebrew. So in the Greek Bible, which was quoted by the writers of the New Testament, names, the word onoma, a name, was not always somebody named George, Harry, Frank, or so forth. It was also a title. The first mention of a name is in Genesis 2:11. It mentions the name of rivers, the four rivers, one being the Euphrates River. Then in 2:19, it mentions God letting man name the animals. Well, an animal, a river can have a name like the Euphrates. An animal can be a dog. It can be a cat, hippopotamus, crocodile. Those are not names they don't have names unless you have a dog. My dog's name was Arlo before he met Mr. Goodyear. And Arlo was his name. I gave him a name, but he was a Boston Terrier. It's a title of that breed. And a hippopotamus is a title of that family, and a crocodile is a title for that family. They're not names. So we have to see how this word onoma is used. Now, God gave names to certain people or things, and in Genesis 5:2, it says he gave the name to man, Adam. And then in Genesis 5:29, he gave the name to the man called Noah. Now, it might not have been his birth name. Doesn't say, but he said God named him. God gave a name to Hagar's son, Ishmael, when she was in the desert, all upset and wanting to die. And God gave a name to Isaac. This was a name from God. Then the first person that was named by another person in the Bible was Zoe. And Zoe is in King James Version called Eve. Zoe means life. And it says that Adam named his wife Zoe, not God. Another title, now Zoe was her name. Now, titles were for cities. Genesis 4:17, or the earliest names were given also to cities along with rivers. There are other problems, not problems, but in Greek to understand words like a woman and a wife are the same Greek word, geni, and anir is a man or a husband, depends on the context. So English, we bust these down to give them different titles and so forth, but the Greeks didn't. So a Greek could look at this and know that, well, this is not her person's name, this is his title. Or somebody else, his name was David. Well, that wasn't a title, it was his name. They would know that. But we don't have that separation, or we have a separation. And it's unfortunate because so many people give a name to God and call it a name, but the early rabbis didn't call it a name. They gave it a title, Kyrios, and went into the Greek and then down to Jesus. The name that talks about in the Bible is of places, is with their titles. It's a place called Oath and a place called Combustion. Another one, Test. These were all in Exodus. Tombs of Desire and Anathema. Those are names of places because of the conditions that were going on at the time they were there. Now, it mentions the first person that called on the name or the title of Kyrios was in Genesis 12:8, and that was Abram. He called on the name of Kyrios, or the title of Kyrios. I prefer title, but people are used to calling it the name. Now, the name, calling on the name Kyrios, the title, it's not a name that like Jehovah and Yahweh, they have given the name of Kyrios of the Hebrew calling it a name instead of calling it a title. And why? I don't know, because the rabbis before 300 years before Christ gave these names as titles, not as names. Another title for a name was, it calls a name the angel of the abyss. Isn't the name of the angel of the abyss? Well, that's a title. And the name of stars, they're titles. They don't have a real name. You have Orion, you have constellations, and all sorts of things. Then it also mentions there'll be a name to the wild beast in the book of Revelation. Now, names also can be changed. We have I put together a list, which I was able to put together because of this application here. That is the Apostolic Bible app. And you can go over here and you can see where I have name, onoma, and you can go down and it'll show you every verse that has that Greek word in it, or English word, either way. You can do it both ways. And I was able to put together this study. And it's a big study. I just hit the tip of it. The New Testament is where it really gets interesting, because we're talking about the name there. There is a name for God, and that his name is Jesus, and we call him Jesus in English. But people's names were changed over a period of times in the Bible. Abram was changed to Abraham, and then his wife Sarai was changed to Sarah. Then there's grandson Jacob was changed. His name was changed to Israel, Genesis 32:28. In the Exodus, Moses had a right-hand man whose birth name was, in King James English, Oshea. In Greek pronunciation of the Hebrew, was Avsi, and his name in English was called Joshua. Jesus, the same as Jesus. His name was Jesus in the Greek. His name was, Joshua's original name was not Joshua, birth name. Then in the New Testament, we see a name change with Simon. His name was called Petros, Peter. From Simon to Peter, a small rock or a pebble. Then in the book of Acts, we see that the man called Saul was later called Paul. Now, my friend Ron, who wrote about the name, be giving a new name, yes, that's mentioned even in the Old Testament, that people will be given new names. In Isaiah 62:2, 65:15, and 66:22. Now, going back to the name of God, the title of God. A couple of places people asked what was his name. And he never said anything. The three places that I thought was very interesting, with Jacob, and then later Manoah with Samson's father, he said it's wonderful. His name is Wonderful. My name is Wonderful. He didn't say my name is George, Harry, or whatever. God doesn't have that kind of name. And You can see those wonderful in thavmastos is the Greek word. And it's in Genesis 32:29, Judges 18:13, Isaiah 9:6, and 25:1. The name also, it says, the name of Kyrios is Dynamion, Lord of the forces. That's not his name, but that's his title. They call it the name. I use name in the Apostolic Bible for onoma. Should I change it to title whenever it's something else? Maybe I should in another edition. I've already done 3 editions and it's been named, so I'm not sure if I would do it again. I'm bringing it out here so you can see there's a difference. Another name that says his name was Pantocrator, which is, in English, Almighty. And then another place that his name, it says in Revelation 19:13, his name is the Word of God, Logos Theou. Then we get into the New Testament. Now we get into the name. The name, it says, by which we must be delivered. No other name under heaven by which we must be delivered. In Acts 4:12, and that name is Jesus. It's really not Jesus, it's Jesus. This is the only name we're given. Now, some people would like to give it a Hebrew name, and Yeshua, call him Yeshua, but that was never shown anywhere in the New Testament. And others would call him Yeshua, but the problem is what he was really called by his brothers and everybody. They were speaking Aramaic. They weren't speaking Hebrew. Now, Yeshua could be Hebrew, but what is it in Aramaic? So you can go around and around, as you can see, on the name of Jesus, but remember that the only name that we are given in the New Testament is Jesus, Jesus in the English, Jesus. It says in Isaiah 42:4 that upon his name, and this is in the Old Testament, upon his name nations shall hope. And they do. They hope, people from all over the world hope in the name of Jesus. And also in the Old Testament, in Isaiah 7:14, his name is Emmanuel, God with us. And then in Zechariah 6:12 is called rising. So these places all appear in the Old Testament, referring to the future, that then once Jesus did appear, Jesus appeared, he mentions many places that people will be detested because of his name, using his name. I was listening to this man who went on this elevator once, and he was on there, and these people in the elevator, a couple of men, were sitting there cursing Jesus Christ this, Jesus Christ that, cursing the name. And he couldn't wait to get off. Wait, the door's going to open. I'm off of this elevator. So the door opened, and something told him not to get off. So the door closed, and he turned to these men, and he says, all my life I've had all kinds of problems, and the only person that's been through me, through thick and thin, is the person of Jesus Christ. Well, the next door they opened, these 2 guys went running out. They flee at the name of Jesus. A powerful name. You go through the New Testament in that list. Just start with Matthew, and there's way more to the name in the New Testament. It doesn't compare to Yahweh, or people call him Jehovah and Yahweh. That's a title. That's not a name. The name is Jesus, and you'll find that out many, many places, all about this man God called Jesus. Asking in his name it's a powerful thing. If you want to ask anybody, years ago, I used to be what's called an expediter in a O-ring factory. And I had a supervisor, his name was Aaron, and he was in charge of finding out when parts were going to be made. And he would deal directly with the sales department, and people would call up and they want, when's my order going to be due? Where are you at? And they would go to Aaron. And Aaron is not going to go running all over the factory trying to find everything out. So he hired me to be an expediter to go around. So I get a call from Aaron, and he says, go into the machine shop and find out when the mold is going to be ready. So what I would do is I would go over there, and if I would say, when's the mold going to be ready? Get out of here. Who are you? You know, you're nobody. You're some guy sitting in this little office doing nothing. But what did I do? I said, Aaron wants to know when this is going to be ready. When you use his name Aaron, whoa, that was different. Because if you didn't want to give him information, then he'd go right to the president, right to the top, the general manager of the factory, and that person would be in beep doo-doo. So with Jesus, is a powerful name. It mentions asking in his name. It says in Philippians 2:9, it's the name above every name. So all these names we're going through, this is the number one name, Jesus. That's why I was telling you that this is a powerful chapter, I think, because of the word onoma. And then it says that later that every knee shall bow at the name of Jesus. Revelations 2:17-3 sort of refers to what my friend Ron was asking about. We're going to be given a new name, but it doesn't really say we're given a new name. The new name is written on a small rock, and it says only we will know that name. Well, if we're the only ones that know that name, then that wouldn't be our name that everybody else would know, would it? I don't think so. This is my take on that. Now, what's interesting, though, the name that we will have is going to be plastered where? Right here, right on our forehead. And what is it going to be? Jesus. It says his name will be on our foreheads. King of Kings, Lord of Lords in Revelations 19:16. The only alternative to this is that a person's name, if they're not written name of Jesus, then their name could possibly be taken out of the book of life. And if it's taken out of the book of life, then they would end up in Hades, in Hades. Now, going back in the 4, we have, and Phanuel was the father, Patir, of Gedur, and Ezer was the father of Uzzah. These are the sons of firstborn of Ephrathah, father of Bethlehem. Now, apparently these are people, and then they became names of places. Jesus was, of course, born in Bethlehem. And to Assur, father of Tekoa, were 2 wives, Elah and Noerah. And Noerah bore to him Ozam and Aphir, and Themani and Asalthariah, that's a hard one. All these were sons to Noerah. And the sons to Elah, Zareth and Zoar, Ethnan, Kos engendered Anob, and Zavivah. These are the families of the brother of Rechal, son of Arim. And Jabez was honorable above his brothers. And they call this the prayer of Jabez, I believe. There's a book on it somebody published. And his mother was called his name Iaviz, saying, for I gave birth in a downfall. I don't know what that means, some problem apparently. And Jabez called on God of Israel, saying, if by blessing you should bless me, eulogy comes from this word, evlogin, and multiply my Oriah, borders, horizon, Oriah, and your right hand might be with me, and you should execute knowledge to not abase me, good. And God brought all as much as he asked for. And Haleb, the brother of Adelphos of Suah, engendered Machir. This one was father Esathon. And Esathon engendered Vith Rapha, and Phasae, and Athenah, father of Irnaas. These are the men of Rechah. And the sons of Kenez, Gothonael and Sarathaiah, and the sons of Gothonael, Atheth, and Maonathi engendered Ephra, and Seraiah engendered Joab, father of Geharasim, for they were fabricators. And the sons of Haleb, son of Ephoni, this is a famous Caleb that went into the land with Joshua, Eru, Elah, Noem, and the sons of Elah. Caleb is a popular name, sort of like George or something. Kenez, sons of Elah, Kenez, and the sons of Elaleel, Zeph and Zephah, and Thephiah and Asareel, and the sons of Easarah, Eather and Marad, and Epher and Ealon, and Eather, again gendered Mariam, and Samai, and Easavah, father of Eshthemon, and the Gini, the wife of Euthiah, bore to him Ered, father of Gedor, and Aver, father of Sokom, and Ekotiel, father of Zanoah, and these are the sons of Thauiah, daughter of Pharaoh, which Marod took, and the sons of the wife of Othiah, the sister of Naum, Patros, father of Keilah, and Garmi, and Eshtama, the Makathi. And the sons of Simon, Amnon, and Ranah, the son Anan, and Thelon, and the sons of Easi, Zohath, the sons of Zokath, the sons of Silo, the son of Judah were Fatir, the father of Lecha, and Laadah, father of Marisah. And the generations of the families of Phephathbach to the house of Asavah, and Joachim, and the men Hozivah, and Joash, Saraph, the ones who exercised authority in Moab. And they returned to Lehem, and the words are old. These are the potters dwelling in Nathaim and Gedirah, with the king and his works. They grew in strength, and they dwelt there, all these people, all these ancestors of the people. The sons of Simeon, Nemuel, and Jamin, Jareb, Zerah, Shalom, his son, Mibsam, his son, Mishma, his son, the sons of Mishma, Amuel, his son, Zachor, his son, Shimi, his son, and to Shimi were 16 sons and 6 daughters. To his brothers there were not many sons, and among their families they multiplied not as the sons of Judah. And they dwelt in Visavae and Moladah and Aser Sual, and in Valah, and in Asom, and Tholath, and in Vathuel, and in Aramah, and in Seklag, and in Vith Marhavoth, and Eser Susim, and in Veth Vari, and in Sarim. These were their cities, until the reign of King David. And their properties were Etham, and Ain, Ramon, and Thokah, and Asan. 5 cities, Pentagon, Polis, metropolis. In all their properties, Kiklo, cycle, round about these cities unto Valad. This is their possession and their distribution. In Meshobab and Amalek, and Eosia, son of Amasiu, and Eoel and Eu, sons of Eosavia, son of Saraiah, son Aseel, and Elonai, and Eakavah, and Isuia, and Asaiah, and Adil, and Ismael, and Vaneas, and Zizah, the son of Zophi, son Alon, son Eadiah, son Samari, son Samaria. These are the ones going by the names of the rulers, the onomasi, in their generations. And in the houses of the patriarchs, families, they were multiplied into a multitude. And they went to coming into Gerara, according to the Anatolas, east, Anatolia, of the valley, to seek pasture for their flocks. And they found fertile and good pasture, and the land broadly spaced before them, and in peace. Irene comes from that. The name Irene means peace and rest. For the ones dwelling there before were from out of the sons of Ham. And these, written by name, came in the days of Hezekiah, king of Judah, and struck their tents. They struck their tents. And I don't think that means they put them up. I think it means they cut them down. And the Meneos of the ones being found there, and this could be the people from Cyprus, and they devoted them to consumption, anathema, until this day. And they lived there instead of them, for pasture to their flocks was there. All these wars between tribes and everything. And some from them of the sons of Simeon went forth unto Mount Seir, 500 men, and Paltias, and Naarias, and Raphaeas, and Oziel, sons of Esue, were their rulers, archontes. And they struck the vestige surviving of Amalek, and they dwelt there until this day. All the names, but again, the name by which we must be delivered, the only name by which we must be delivered, is Jesus. Next chapter, next video, going through the genealogy of the book of Reuben. The first 9 chapters are named, so 5, 6, 7, 5 more to go. But hopefully we'll learn something in each one of these chapters that relates to what we need to know by God. Hope you'll join us and continue with these video seminars. And until next time, God bless.